everyone, and welcome back to Coffee and Praise. Um, Today I'm going to read more from chapter 4, Excuses, Excuses. I'm going to share a little bit more from there. I started this video, it's probably been 2 or 3 days ago. I posted one video, which was the second part to the last chapter, which had like the my responses to the body clutter mission. So this one I had to end it because I got company, and so I didn't get to finish it. So I'm just kind of try to remember where I was at and what the next thing is. So one of the other things that I highlighted in here, um let's see, it says this is also going along with the idea of using excuses to make us a victim of our body clutter, or a victim of something that caused the body clutter. So this is kind of going along with that same thing. Now, the last thing, I don't know if I shared this part last time, but she did talk about blaming her thyroid and all that kind of stuff because it does cause issues. But another thing that she shared, which I think I shared this too, but I'm not sure, but working with your doctor, getting the right medication, making the right choices as far as what we're eating, exercise, and trying to cope with our stress issues and all that kind of stuff. Hold on just so what she says here that I underlined and highlighted is, the fact of the matter is, embrace yourself. This is going to hurt. That our excuses reveal a lack of character on our part, an ugly dent in our personal integrity. Doing the right thing means you do it when no one is looking, and you do it for the right reasons. It's just that simple. And it's the kind of thing that when we play the victim card, and we're the victim of everything else outside of us, instead of saying, I'm a victim of my own choices. This is all because of things that I've done. Now, granted, like she did talk about health issues. If you have those, they do make things a little more difficult. I know. I get all that, and I've used those same excuses of, well, it's harder because with hypothyroidism, polycystic ovarian syndrome, type 2 diabetes, fibromyalgia, arthritis, I've dealt with chronic sciatic pain for a long time. I have heel spurs, arthritis in my knees, and all these things cause a lot of pain. They also cause a lot of, they cause our bodies to be out of whack, for lack of a better phrase to use. But like the thyroid, the diabetes, and the polycystic ovarian syndrome are all metabolic illnesses. So they deal with hormones. So we know when our hormones are crazy, our bodies don't function correctly. So that's another thing that deals with stress. And that's the other thing that we're, and I know I've used this as a victim of stressors, of whatever. And the thing is, there are some things that are out of our control, but our reaction to it and what we do about it, that's in our control. So it's the idea of, if you're a people pleaser and you want to, be involved in everything because that's where you get your validation from. Well, now what made you that way could have been some trauma in childhood, something happened with the way you were raised, just that you were raised to think that way or whatever. So at that point in time, as a child, we didn't know. But as an adult, if we took the time to get to know ourselves and to really work on ourselves, instead of just continuing to live that life of a victim, we can change. And I know this is, when I thought of thought of these things, and when I've had some conversations with others about these things, that's exactly what I hear. It's, you got to stop being the victim. And that sounds so harsh because there are so many things that we have gone through that we didn't ask for and have caused lots of trauma, that has caused anxiety, caused depression. Some things is just something that is just maybe genetics. It could be different reasons for why we deal with what we deal with. And I'm gonna have to look for the scripture that I found this morning. And now I was working on soaps for the Love God Greatly group. They are on Facebook. They also have a website, and we're doing a soap study right now. It just started on Monday, and I believe it's called Triumph Over Trials. And at the moment, I don't know if all of it was going to be in First Peter, but we're going through First Peter right now. So we're still in chapter 1, and you read a portion of the scripture, and then you soap one, which is you write the scripture for the S. O is your observation. A is how you apply it to your life application, and then P is for prayer. So it's been a really eye-opening study so far. And so when I found the scripture I wanted to share in this video earlier today, I got busy doing some other things and I never got to the video. So I hope to find that later. And if I find it during the video or remember where it was at, I will share that. And if not, I will share it either in a clip at the end or in the community post, or in both, and link it back to this video if I share it in the community post. Now, a lot of it is we're going to deal with things, right? So like I've said before in other videos, we live in a broken world. We're broken people. The enemy, Satan, is out to destroy. I mean, it says in scripture, he comes to kill, steal, and destroy. So one of the ways that he can kill us, destroy us, and steal from us is he takes all of that love that we should have for ourselves by tempting us with things, and we fall victim to it because we've been victimized, or we've been led to believe that we're not good enough. And instead of looking to God for our validation, because he loves us, he sent his son, Yeshua, Jesus, to die for us, for sins before we were even here to commit them. But he knew, because we're human, this is what we're going to do. But he sent his son. That's how much love he has for us. So if he loves us that much, then we're worth something, right? So, and he's given us a guidebook, the Bible, to show us what things we should do, how we can take care of ourselves, and all that type of stuff. Now here where she talks about to reveal a lack of character on our part. It is when we hear someone else say, well, I do this because, well, that person made me feel this way, or that person looked at me wrong, so it made my whole day bad. We don't even know that person, but they gave you a side eye because they didn't like your hat, or they didn't like what you were wearing, or something about you, and so that whole thing ruins your day. But you chose to react that way. You could have just, you don't know him. Even if you do know him, when you're having a bad day, sometimes you look at people sideways, or you make faces, or you say things that you wouldn't otherwise, even if it's just the tone of your voice. So we expect to be given grace. We expect to be given the benefit of the doubt. So we should also give that to others. And if we respected ourselves enough, we would do the right thing for ourselves. And like it says here, do the right thing means you do it when no one is looking, and you do it for the right reasons. The right reasons aren't for someone else. The right reasons aren't for somebody else to like the way you look, or to accept you, or anything like that. Because if you're having to change your life, the way you think, the way you dress, the way you talk, and all the things to please someone else. They really don't care about you. And it's not necessarily because they just don't like you, or whatever. A lot of times it's because they're dealing with their own things and they have yet to begin that work. So, it's sometimes it's just they project that onto you. But we can choose who we spend our time with. We can choose how much of the things that we're going to deal with. Because in relationships, whether that's friendships, family, marriages, we are going to deal with something. We're going to deal with bad attitudes sometimes. We're going to deal with things that we don't necessarily like or agree with, that our spouse or our friend or a brother or sister in the Lord or our family does. But how we react to that is our choice. And that also may help the other person. If we learn how to react in a better way, even if it's that's just like, okay, let it go, they're having a bad day, come back to it later and talk about it. Those kinds of things. Now, as far as body clutter goes, when you look at yourself and you think, okay, I don't like the way I look, because I would say the majority of us who are overweight, obese, morbidly obese, whatever terminology they used when, you go to the doctor and you get your weight and you do your physicals and all that, we don't like what we look like. Now, our response to that image in the mirror matters, because we don't have to like that we're overweight or that we're fat. We don't have to like that, but you have to love yourself even still, because if you allow the choices that you've made, whatever those are, whether it's health issues that happen to you and you either didn't know how to deal with them at the beginning, and you're learning now, and we know what kind of foods we should and shouldn't eat and all this stuff. If you made all those bad choices anyway, so it took you to where it took me to 242 pounds at one time, even at that moment, you need to love yourself, because if you don't, you are never going to get out of there. Because I did this whole yo-yoing of losing weight and gaining, because all those times I wasn't doing it because I loved myself. And I still struggle with that. Don't get me wrong, I still struggle with that, but I'm learning and I'm taking it upon myself to try to remember that I need to treat myself with respect, treat myself with grace, give myself, that room to grow, and do it in a way that is honoring and glorifying to God. And that will also be inspiring and maybe encouraging to people that I know. But when I did it before, I was doing it because, well, I had to. It was the idea that the doctor would keep telling you, you need to lose weight because this is worse and this is worse, and you're never going to get rid of this if you don't lose weight. And all the problems were because of the weight, which is also a problem because that's not always true. But being overweight can make things worse that are, it can, but it doesn't mean that that's what caused it. It just depends on what you're dealing with. But it's, when I was doing that, I did it I was trying to do it for someone else, for the doctors that I was seeing, for people who would make rude comments, or to be accepted by somebody else, because maybe if I looked better, I would, I guess, be more accepted, or people would like me more. And a lot of that comes from the people pleasing thing, and a lot of that comes from just not knowing how to deal with things as a child. My personality led me to being a fixer and a people pleaser and wanting to keep everything just so I would jump in to try to fix things. So when I jumped in to try to fix myself, though, I wasn't giving myself time. So I'd try to do a quick fix, and then it would work for a while, right? Because you can lose a quick amount of weight, but then if you're not making it a habit, well, you gain it back, and sometimes it gets worse. And then another thing I underlined is she said, we are the biggest deceivers on the planet when it comes to ourselves. How many times have you said, on Monday I'm going to? For me, that blank was get serious, start exercising, eat right, etc. I'm sure we've all said that. And then Monday came and went. As Monday came and went, 9 times out of 10, I didn't start. And even those rare times I did, good intentions were dashed against the rocks by Wednesday. And I've been in that situation. And a lot of that is because it's hard. And a lot of times we're not willing to do the hard stuff for ourselves because of the lack of love for ourselves, because of the lack of respecting ourselves, because it's hard. It's hard, and it takes time, and it takes effort, and it takes building habits, and habits take a while to build. Now, another thing is, let's see what she put. When you begin to understand, like Fly Lady and I did, that paying attention to your fuel and movement isn't just so that you can wear a smaller size, but it is critical for doing more of the work that God had called us to do. It isn't just vanity, but it is a whole new life that God wanted to reveal to us. And I think that right there is it. That we have a purpose. God has given us gifts to use to fulfill that purpose. But when we look at ourselves as victims all the time, we won't fulfill that purpose. We won't use our gifts. Our gifts will become something that we'll try sometimes, but once somebody doesn't appreciate it enough, or doesn't like it because it's not good enough yet, or whatever, we quit. And I think that's, for me, that's something to do with, like, one of my cats, paying attention to your fuel and movement. So our fuel is the food that we put in our body. So what are you eating, and what? I don't know, we pick some things because we like them and they taste good, but if they're not good for you, are you respecting yourself? No. Are you loving yourself? No. Now, I'm not saying we can never have candy or a cookie or a muffin or whatever, but it's how much are we having, and how bad is it for our health to have that? Like today, I rarely drink soda. I picked up a Sprite. I've had this for a few hours already, and that's all I drink. And I probably won't finish it. Maybe. It's possible. But like a lot of times I do that. I want a Sprite. I'll drink half. And either give the other half to my husband or whatever, or leave it for another day. But at first I thought, oh, I can't be drinking this. This is going to ruin everything. But I don't do this all the time. So I can have a Sprite, and it's not the worst thing in the world. And if I look at it that way, it doesn't bring me to a point where I want to quit. And like when I was doing eating the whole food plant-based diet, I got a lot of flack for that from a lot of people. Partly because they didn't understand. Because why would anybody want to eat like that? And it was hard to explain that for me, I was having gallbladder issues. The one thing that helped was getting rid of all the fried food, really that was it. And like sweets and stuff, I never have liked sweets a lot, but the types of sweets I did like were like, I would have donuts, or really it was like baked goods, I guess. But still that was bothering me. And so I switched over, did the whole food plant-based diet, but even explaining that was like, no, that's weird. You're eating weird food and you're not eating meat. And it had nothing to do with that I didn't like meat. I don't like it all that much, but not because I think there's something wrong with eating meat. You can eat meat, like, whatever. It's not, and I mean, I eat it now. I've eaten it before. I'm just really don't like it all that much because it's really heavy, and I don't like chicken a lot. So that's the thing. The lighter, I guess better for you meat, I don't really like it. But I almost quit more than once in between. Now, the reason why at the end that I didn't necessarily quit because I kept a lot of those things in my diet, but I finally started feeling better and I needed some protein and I started adding in the meat. And I kind of wanted to see what types of foods were bothering me so much because I'd taken so many out at one time. And so when I started adding them in, I started noticing, well, this one I can't have and this I can't have, or I can only have this once in a big while or whatever. So it helped me in that respect as well. Plus it detoxed my body, which really helped. And it showed me too that I could do this. I could lose the weight because in the first 3 months of that, because I think I did it for 6 or 7 months, the first 3 months I lost 32 pounds. And of course, like I said, I've gained about 15 of that back after the fact. And I've lost that back again. And I'm probably about 2 pounds below what I was at my lowest at that point in time. So I think I'm about at 200 now, and I was like at 202 last week or the last video, whenever that was. But my official weigh-in will be, I think I'm going to do this on Saturdays if possible. That's the day that I take my Mounjaro injection and all that, and I figure in the mornings I can do that. It may be Saturday or Sunday, I don't know yet. I'm still trying to work that one out. Now let's go on to the next one. The next quote I have on here is, we always say you must accept yourself first as you are today before you can work on your body clutter. That is very true. However, the kicker is staying there. Fly Lady has said, my weight hasn't changed in 15 years. That is an excuse and perfectionism, because by saying that she is really saying, I'm not willing to change. And being unwilling to change is simply another way of being paralyzed by perfectionism. Because if you can't do it right, you're not going to do it at all. Then what follows are the excuses and rationalizations. Yes, that is, for me, that was a lot of what this whole back and forth, up and down was. I wanted to do it fast. I wanted to do it right. I didn't want to have the fluctuation. I didn't want to have to deal with, oh, well, this month I lost 8 pounds. This month I only lost 4. And I'm doing all the same things. But it's the idea that we want everything to be perfect. I mean, some of us struggle more with that than others. But for me, that was a struggle. And it still is. And I'm trying to learn to just accept the little victories and just be, like I said in the last video, kind of tiptoe around this and not force myself to really look at it like, well, you didn't do what you were going to do. Because the main reason for me, I guess thinking that way, is I want to make this a lifelong habit. I want my eating habits that I'm learning to do now with the healthier foods and all that stuff to be something I do for the rest of my life. When I do get to my goal weight that I've set for myself this time, which is 140, I don't want to stop there. And I'm not saying that I want to lose another 30-40 pounds or anything, but I don't want to change, like get comfortable and say, oh, well, I'm fine now, I don't have to do any more of this stuff. I still need to continue eating right, whatever exercise I'm doing. But I don't, at that point I won't have to worry about, oh, I need to lose another 20 pounds because this is my next goal. I don't have to, and once I get to that goal, I don't have to necessarily have another goal. Now, if I feel like I want to, for me, fine. Or if for health reasons I need to lose more at that point, you know, I'll make that decision then. But the one thing I want to stick in this, you know, on this path is that it will be lifelong. All the things I'm learning now that I'm implementing now, I want to be doing when I'm 86. You know, I don't want this to be a thing that I'm doing for the meantime, a couple of years, and then all of a sudden something goes wrong and I quit. Because that happens to me. It's like especially dealing with depression, anxiety, um, like being with the bipolar 2, there's a lot of ups and downs in that. And there's times where a certain event, something happens, something traumatic in life, loss of family, loss of friends, or just some situation that I find myself in gets really stressful, I tend to, it triggers that part of me that's just like, I can't do this anymore. It's too hard. I mean, I just was in that the last few weeks. That's why I haven't really done many videos. The ones I had were older, that I did post, and then I just went days without even doing anything. I finally recorded one a few days ago, and that finally got put up today. This one I'm hoping to get up tomorrow, get edited and put it up tomorrow. I'm trying not to edit so much so I can get them up there faster, but it's kind of hard. But I don't want to be paralyzed by the idea of perfection. I don't want that when one thing changes, that it totally destroys everything that I've worked for. And that's happened to me so many times, and I'm trying this time to say no. I'm going to keep working on this. If I fall, I'm going to get right back up. And you know, that's one thing that I hope that I can convey through this channel, that I'm doing it slow, with purpose, intentionality, and also with the help of God, because without him, there's no way I would be doing this. There's no way that I'd be doing these videos. There's no way I'd be even on this health journey, because the times that I did do it, I mean, I've always been a Christian since I was a child. I was baptized young. I think I was 14 when I was baptized in 1992. And I probably would have done it younger, but the youth pastor we had at that time was, you know, wanting me to make sure that I knew what kind of decision I was making. And so I took some more time to study some more and just make sure that's really what I wanted. But that's the way I've lived my life. And in that, when things have gone bad, because there's been a lot of things, that's where I turn. And I still fall victim to whatever's happening around me. I've chosen to become a victim to it. I've chosen to say, well, this person or this situation did this, so I can't move on. I can't forgive them. I can't love myself enough to rise above this, to overcome this. And I can't surrender it to God because I want to fix it. Because my thing was, he has more important things to deal with than my little whatevers, you know. Even though they're not all that little, but it's that idea somebody else has it worse, which it's probably true in a lot of circumstances. Each one of us has had it worse at one point or another than someone else, but he wants to hear from each one of us. Even the little tiny things that we think don't matter to him. And a lot of it is just so that we can surrender them and let him fight for us. Let him deal with that, so that, you know, he can give us the strength to overcome those things, face those things head on, face the parts of us that we don't want to, face those things in us that we have to change. And I still have quite a bit left of this chapter. Actually, about 15 more pages or so. So, I will leave this one here, and I will probably finish this one up in the next video. I have a class today at 6:30. It's a diabetic, can't remember what they called it, but it's like for information, and it's online, and I've been trying to do this for over a year and a half, but every single time that they have a class, I have an appointment. Like like my appointments were always for therapy were always on a certain day. These classes always started about an hour into my therapy. And they were like 4 hours long. So this one is an hour long, and I'm hoping to gain a lot of good information, and just to kind of see what new things I can learn for my diabetes. Because I want to reverse this. I want to get rid of this. I want to do all the things that I can do naturally to get rid of it, because I don't want to take this medication I'm on forever. So when I do these classes, I'll take notes, because I take notes for everything. And I can share some of those if anyone's interested. I probably will share them in some of my videos anyway, but if there's anyone out there that would like, more information, or like to find out where these classes, I know they're, I believe it's like through my insurance or something, and I think it's called wellness referrals, wellness, I'm not sure, but I'll find out, and I'll try to link things later on when I get more information. All right, well, that is it for this one, and I hope that something I said blessed you or encouraged you. Let me know how you're doing on your health journey, whatever that is, whether it's weight loss, just whatever types of things that you're dealing with. If you have any prayer requests, you can put them in the comments below. Eventually I will share my email. Right now it's completely full. I haven't cleaned it out, so as soon as I get that cleaned out, I will share the email. So if you don't want to put prayer requests here on the comments, you can send them to my email. Also, if you have any advice, encouragement, anything that if you've been through this challenge of weight loss, diabetes, all the things, or if you're going through it now, what are you doing to get healthier? And I will see you in the next one. God bless you. Bye.